Can two contradictory things be true at the same time?
At times, you may feel that you have found the correct answer. I assure you that this is a total delusion on your part.
Most Americans believe that higher education is failing us, failing America, failing the children, failing their students.
You come in here with a skull full of mush, and you leave thinking like a lawyer.
That it's a poor return on investment, doesn't prepare them for life or the workplace. And yet, most Americans believe that the value of higher education has never been greater, and that the payoff for going to finishing a degree in higher ed has a lot of upside. So can those two things be true at the same time? Well, let's tap the like button. That's you. Tap the like button, and let's take a look. Hi, I'm James Callahan, and this is the Do-Over Show. Yep, I have a Ph.D., 20 plus years of a teaching experience, writing, publishing, consulting in higher education. And if you survived one of those college logic courses, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, law of non-contradiction. A can't be both A and non-A at the same time. But we're not talking logic. We're talking perception. We're talking perception in real life. That is, when we look at the actual way people live and make money and who makes more and who doesn't, the question of the value of higher education comes home to us, and we have to ask ourselves, is this contradiction true? In a recent national survey of perceptions, this survey by the Chronicle of Higher Education, what most people consider to be pretty much the Bible of higher ed, they found that yes, most Americans believe higher education is failing us, and yet most Americans will still recommend that anybody, especially their children, get a 4-year degree. Yep, it's sort of like an odd Yelp review. It's a horrible return on value, but please go. Most people, whether they have a 4-year degree or not, would advise others to pursue one, our poll found. Yet many don't think institutions do a great job educating their students. That is, the value to the communities, the value to those surrounding them is in doubt, and people complain. Most people, whether they have a 4-year degree or not, believe that there is a greater value in attending than not attending higher education. And yet most people, at the same time, believe that higher education is failing our communities, failing to provide for the greater good, failing to educate our poor little students. See, it turns out that a higher education degree, a 4-year degree or 5 or 6-year degree, you know who you are, is still a greater return on value and gives you the fastest, most direct route to make more money throughout your working life, to have a lower average unemployment than the rest of America. Yes, a college degree pays. And that's what the Bureau of Labor Statistics, BLS for those who are insiders, title their annual survey of whether or not it really does pay to go to college, to finish a 4-year degree. And it's titled Education Pays. I think they have a little bias. There's lower unemployment compared to every other qualification and category, according to the year after year BLS survey. And that's not changing soon, no matter how much we complain about higher education's failure. The BLS stats tell us not only that education pays, but these numbers keep coming up, and the numbers are not changing. If you finish a college degree, with that degree, you will make 35% more on average than someone without a college degree, someone with just a couple courses in college. You'll make almost 50% more than the person who never tries college at all. And those numbers, as I said, are not changing. They're the same in 22, 21, 2019. You get the point. By the way, the average American wage in 2023 is the full-time wage, and salary workers is about $58,000 or $59,000 annually throughout the 50 states, and that's almost $29 per hour. Now, Forbes, the magazine people, Forbes crunched the numbers state by state, and I'll put their link in the description below so you can look up what state, what region, what city, what area you are, and see what the average is. On the low end, it's places like Oklahoma and Louisiana, where the annual average wage for everyone with working a salary or full-time job, full-time pay in those states, Oklahoma and Louisiana, make about $50,000 annually, just over 50. And then they're the high end of the states like New York and Connecticut, where you're at $75,000, almost $80,000 annually. And those are the averages. Hey, and I've done a video on one of the easiest ways to actually increase the amount of money You're paid to do your one main job. And it's the simple thing called moving. You ever heard about it? Yeah, you move to a different city or a different state to do the same job you're doing now and get paid a lot more. You can check out that video here. Now, let's dive into that Chronicle of Higher Education survey and see what Americans are saying about the value of higher education and the failure of higher education. 8 out of 10 graduates of higher education, that is those who actually earn their four-year degree, 8 out of 10 say that the degree was worth it. Total, 79%. Students, even those with student loans, still, if you paid off your student loan or you never had them, 86% say that finishing a four-year degree is worth it. But even if you still have student loans, 64% of people who still have student loans, finish their four-year degree, still have to pay them off, still say it's worth it. Contrary to everything we've been hearing. And of course, in that number, the more you make annually, the higher your opinion is of the degree that got you the opportunity to make more money annually. Makes sense, doesn't it? So yes, these are the people who are making more money than the average American. And when we see that, we go to them and we ask them, hey, how do I make the kind of money you make? And we look at their lives and we listen to their advice, and they're telling us, 8 out of 10 of them are telling us, you should go get a degree like I did because that's why I'm making more money than you and the average American. Now, of everybody surveyed, whether they went to college or not, guess what? The overwhelming majority, 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5 still say a college degree is worth it. Out of the total number of Americans surveyed by the Chronicle of Higher Education, 78% say, yep, go for it. Of college graduates, of a four-year graduate, 85% say, yep, go for it. So go ahead. 3 out of 4, 4 out of 5, 4 out of 5 plus, everybody still says go for it. Now, I know what you're thinking. There are alternatives. College isn't for everybody. And you're absolutely right. But the advice is almost universal. That if you have the opportunity, if you can afford it, if you can cut it, if you can actually do the work, and if you can play the games you need to in order to jump through the hoops and meet the deadlines and make people, odd people like professors, happy and meet all of their idiosyncrasies and say, I can still do this. If you can handle that, then the overwhelming advice is you should do it. Now, the alternatives are things like trade school or technical school or military service or apprenticeships or even unions. So let's look at the numbers. Out of those who say, yeah, trade school might be better, 37% say trade school is a better option than a four-year college degree. But out of that number, 49% say, meh, it's about the same. No benefit, no alternative. Trade school, four-year degree, go for it. 14% say trade school is not as good as a college degree. And let's look at the numbers for professional or technical training. 33% say, yeah, it's better than a four-year degree. 53% say, nah, not really. And 14% again say, nope. Work apprenticeships, 33%. 47% say, meh. 20% say, no, a work apprenticeship's not as good as a four-year college degree. You mean actually doing work, learning how to do something, being trained in an apprenticeship, and getting a chance to do what you're going to do for a living as you actually get into it, when you have that beautiful lineup of what you're actually learning and what you're going to do in your career, 20% say, nah, college degree is still better. Military service, 23% say it's a better alternative to a four-year degree. 43% say, nah. 33% say, heck no. 1/3 of people surveyed say, no, it's actually better just to go to college than it is the military, if you can handle college. And the last one, unions. Sorry, unions, 20% say better, 40% say no, and almost 40%, 39% say no. Getting a union gig is just not the same as getting a college degree. Now to the contradictory opinion, that is the disagreement that no matter what the benefits, no matter how many recommendations, higher education is failing us. It doesn't prepare people for real life, for the workplace. It doesn't teach them how to actually live or be adults half the time. And it's too doggone expensive, and they're saddled with all that college debt. Sometimes people have tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars if they go to professional grad school. It just doesn't pay. Problem is, for every person who finishes, they're making more money than people who complain about it being, well, not a payoff. The ROI is still there. So let's get to the it's just not worth it thing. So maybe it's like a union card that you have to get it in order to get people to look at you and take you seriously. Why? Because a college degree is not easy to finish. Even in French basket weaving, Mayan architecture, as well as one of the STEM fields, it is difficult to finish a college degree. So what does finishing a college degree show people? That you can do something that's difficult, that you can follow instructions, that you can finish something that's difficult. Finishing something that's difficult has never been more important to demonstrate your value. And yes, when you finish a degree, it's nice if you have real-world experience, apprenticeships, summer jobs, internships. All of those things work, because if you graduate and all you have on your resume is your college degree, there are dozens of other people who actually also have real work experience, apprenticeships, internships, and they add that, and they're going to get looked at before someone who just has a college degree. So it's not that you just finished college, but that when you finish college, you also show that ability to finish things in other parts of your life. You're able to hold a job, do a job, take responsibility, follow instructions, and make somebody else some money. Yeah, that's the real test. Are you going to be a problem for an employer, or are you going to be a net value to them? And here's the other number that we don't talk about enough, and that is that most Americans, most families are still working hard, making sacrifices, putting themselves in a situation where they can help their children go to college, university, to finish a degree. Not just because they didn't. Part of that is they see around them, because they work hard, and they see the limits to what they're given an opportunity to do because they don't have a college degree, that they don't want that burden. They don't want to pass that on to their children. So they say, I'm going to make sacrifices and I'm going to make it possible for my children to do something, to have an upside, the possibility of success. Here's the odd thing about that kind of view of parenting. They're willing to, they want their children to do better than them, to excel, to exceed, to make more money than they were ever able to make. Why? Because they looked around and they saw what they missed because they didn't have a college degree, and they're willing to make sacrifices so that their babies can. I'm sorry, take your best shot at that, but that still has a lot going for it. So yes, people in American culture question the value of a college degree. The value in the sense that is it doing what it says it's going to do, and that is actually prepare people for the real world to make more money. And there is a declining number of people that actually think college is doing a good job. It's always been an ivory tower though, so what is college expected to do? Teach their children how to be adults? Maybe that's somebody else's job. Maybe they're supposed to go through college and embrace the notion that C's get degrees. Your grades in college only matter if you want to go to grad school. Because no employer today is going to look at you and say, what'd you get in biochem in your sophomore year? They don't ask that question. Only if your degree will lead to another degree or entrance into a field. 99 out of 100 jobs, though, they're never going to ask you, what was your GPA? We still put our GPA on our resumes sometimes because we want to impress people. HR is not impressed. Just 40% of college grads say that colleges are excellent or very good at their job of educating students for life, for work, for the greater good. And almost 20% say colleges are just poor at doing that. They are failing at doing that. Great. They're complaining while they're winning because of their college degrees. So yes, take it with a grain of salt, but those who have college degrees complain about the value of college degrees. Those who don't have college degrees are a little bit jealous that they don't have college degrees, and just a smaller number of them actually complain. So who's complaining? People like you with a college degree. So where are you with this contradiction? Do you believe college is essential, valuable, that you make more money and lower unemployment throughout your entire career than people without it? But do you think college is also a waste of time and too expensive and doesn't really prepare and doesn't do what it's supposed to do? Yeah, both can be true at the same time. And most people see that both are true and still recommend. If you're considering college, if you can cut it, you should go for it. So tell us your story, not just about the contradiction and not just your complaints, but here, I got a newsflash for you. I've answered every single comment on every one of the hundreds of videos I've posted here on YouTube. I answer every single comment personally. Yeah, I'll respond to you. So please add your story to the comments. I want to hear from you and I'll respond. Promise. Hey, and thanks for being part of the Do Over Show. Please, while you're down there leaving your comments about colleges, could you tap the like button because it really helps. And while you're doing that, how about you subscribe and ring the notifications bell so you don't miss the next episode. I'm so glad you found me, and I found you. Thanks.